Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Santos on Sports, along with my partner in crime, Mr. Chris Santos. I am Paul Santos. Happy to have you looking in today. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Scotty's Pub, 202 Pleasant Street in Fall River, Citywide Glass, with 3 locations in New Bedford, Fall River, and Dartmouth. We have Lakeville Athletic Club, located in Lakeville, Mass., and attorney John Seed, New Bedford, Massachusetts. You can check out his website at johnseedlaw.com. How are things going on your end there, sir?
Pretty busy, Paul. Finishing up a lot with work. Finish up a fall season that I had with my tennis team, and now things are kind of settling down a little bit. So I have a little bit more time now to watch some games. Celtics, Bruins. Obviously finished up with the World Series. Patriots football, everything on Sunday as well, and we just try to go from there. So. It's been pretty busy, but now it's kind of calming down with the holidays coming up.
Well, last night the Celtics played, and of course they played against the Golden State Warriors, and the Celtic fans were all like wringing their hands like, oh yeah, because Jason Tatum was kind of snubbed by Coach Steve Kerr on Team USA, this is a chance to get even and really stick it to him. And of course he failed, but that's just my point of view. But no, here's the thing, right?
You mean they failed?
Well, Steve Kerr, right?
I wouldn't say him. I'd say they failed.
He had to play the guys he wanted to play.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, I'm looking at the guys that are out there, and most of them I like better than Tatum. I know I'm in a minority view with the Celtic fans out there and the Green Teamers, all that. But when you look at who performed in the games for Team USA, I mean, Steph Curry, what Steph Curry did in that last game, Tatum couldn't come close to doing that. I mean, most people would say only Steph Curry could do that. LeBron James, hey, in all fairness, he was kind of running the show there, team leader and scoring and all that. Kevin Durant, he had a couple of big clutch shots, and so there are a lot of other players. I mean, even Ant-Man, did okay. And then you start to get into the rest of the guys, Embiid and Davis and all these guys, Drew Holiday. I mean, and then there are guys that are in the NBA that aren't even on Team USA, like Luka Doncic and Joker. So, again, I think it was fine. I think he could have played him a little bit more, in all fairness. But the fact that he didn't, so what? You know what I mean? They won the gold medal. He played the guys he wanted to play. A lot of these guys are better than Tatum, in my view, certainly in the clutch. And they were successful. So, end of story. Now, here's the thing. Last night, right? The Celtic fans, they wanted him to come out and really show Kerr, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to show you how you made a mistake by not picking me and all that. And, of course, as usual, because even though I think he's a great player, I'm not a hater. I know you think I'm a hater. I think he's a great player. He doesn't come through when the pressure is on. When the pressure is on, it's a different thing. So now he's been hearing about this for 2 weeks. Oh, yeah, that game, he's going to stick it to Kerr. He's going to do it. And then he goes out there and it's like, he didn't have Jaylen Brown to bail him out. He didn't have Porzingis to bail him out. He didn't have, some of these other guys that helped him to win that championship weren't there. So here's the thing. There are certain guys like this, right? Certain guys like this. Okay. I think he's more of a guy that's not really this. I think he's more like, he's not Big Papi, not Tom Brady. That doesn't mean he's a bum. Okay. I want to make sure I'm clear on this. I don't think he's a bum at all. I don't mean to be putting him down. He's just not God's gift to basketball. You know what I mean? So he walks around like he thinks he's God's gift to basketball. I don't think he is. I think he's an excellent player. I think he's a little weak in the clutch. And I think he's very fortunate that he's on a basketball team that goes 7 deep.
That goes 7 deep. Okay.
That's
so
it. I'm done.
You want my opinion on the Tatum and the situation?
All of the above.
Okay. So let's start with, first of all, in your opinion, Paul, not my opinion, your opinion, who's the best player on the Celtics?
I think it's open for debate.
Well, all right. So who do you like? I'm just saying your opinion.
All right. Well, all right. I'm going to try to answer that in two. I know it feels like I'm ducking the question. No. I'm going to answer that in 2 ways. Best player on the team. I wouldn't necessarily say it's not Tatum. You know what I mean? Okay. But in the clutch, Brown, Drew Holiday, and the clutch.
So let's just go best player. I'm not worried about clutch, just best player. Okay. So who's second? If you said Tatum was first, who's second? Brown?
Well, Tatum and Brown are the top 2.
Okay, so who's third? Porzingis?
Well, when he's there,
When he's
unfortunately,
there.
he's not
Okay.
there too often. When he's there,
So,
yeah.
okay. So knowing that you've already said this, okay, you explain to me how Holiday and White get more time than Tatum in the Olympics. That's number one. They played more, and they're fourth and fifth on the Celtics team, while Tatum is either one or number two. But yeah, Holiday and White played more than Tatum. That's got to tell me something right there. Number two, 2020 Olympics, best player, Kevin Durant. Second best player, Jason Tatum. On the Olympic team. Got the second most points on the Olympic team. Got the second most minutes on the Olympic team in 2020. He was 22 years old. 4 years later, he's now 26. And he gets rarely any playing time. So you're telling me from 22 to 26, Tatum has gone backwards? I disagree. I think he has gone forward. And yet, Kerr does not play him. But when he played in 2020, second most minutes on the team, second most points on the team. The only one better was Durant. That's it. Now, that being said, into 2024, LeBron, yes. Curry, yes. Durant, yes. Now I start the question number 4 and number 5. Starting 5. So you're going to tell me Embiid, who's like, I could blow on that guy and he gets an injury. That's how bad he is. So I can't worry about Embiid, okay? You got Booker. I'm not seeing much. Edwards, okay. Bam Abidu, nope. I don't see it. Then you got Holiday and White, who again, are below Tatum on the Celtics, but they're above him on the Olympic team. I makes no sense. Halliburton, obviously he didn't play. He was with Tatum. So 12 guys. To me, if you don't think Tatum, in my opinion, between LeBron, Curry, and Durant, after that is not 4, 5, and 6, then I don't know what to tell you. Then I don't know basketball compared to what I'm seeing with these other guys. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I will admit it. But I don't see it, and I think Kerr stuck it to Tatum. For what reason? I have no idea. If he was that good in 2020, and he was 22 years old and the second best on that team, with Durant being number 1, you're going to tell me that this year coming up, 2024, he's not top 5 or top 6 to crack that? He could be the 6th man for all I care. But no way do I have him down at number 11 out of the 12 players, because he was the 11th player with the most minutes, with 71 minutes. And only one person was less, was Halliburton with 26. Everybody else was above him. So I think Kerr stuck it to him. Yep, he scored 32 last night. Again, he pushes the button when he needs to. He gets him into contention. Would I like to see him do more down the stretch? Absolutely. I still believe, and even Scalabrini said it yesterday, the man is double teamed every time he touches the ball. Scal even broke it down and said, watch, here's the double team. Now, even that being said, I get it. That's what good teams do. You guard the best player in one of them, and they go after him, especially with Brown not in it and Porzingis in it, and they need others to step up. Okay? He had 32. I think White had 25. Your boy Holiday, 6 points. 6 points in that game. Not a good day for him. 6 points. Needed more production out of him. I'm not saying Tatum is going to beat Golden State by himself. It's not going to happen. But he got 32. He kept them in the hunt. Good contention there at the end. They had 3 or 4 possessions at the end. They were horrible on defense. And they were letting Buddy Hield and slow-mo Anderson beat them. So, that stuff happens. And hopefully they get better and they learn from that loss. But still, without Porzingis and Brown, I still think they're a better team.
All right. So what do you think out there on this subject or any other? We're going to cover them all here in the next hour or so. 774 218-3393. Give us a call. Let me have it if you disagree, or if you agree, or maybe you take some position in between. You make some really good points there. I mean, I will concede that, they should have played him a little more than they did, okay? Because he really buried him and didn't play him hardly at all. But, a lot of these other guys, like you said, Curry and James and Durant, these guys are really coming through.
Those three right there, I have no problem.
Yeah,
I get that. Remember, it's a five-man. It's a five-man that you put on the floor. Embiid, I'm telling you, that guy could break, just by snapping your fingers. So I have no faith in Embiid. Might be a great player, biggest guy out there, but he can't last from, he cracks. So I can't really worry about him. Again, Booker, Holiday, White, Edwards, Davis, okay. But I still see Tatum better than those guys. And I think a lot of other people do too. That's why there's even this debate about this, because they know that guy should have been playing more. That's why the debate even came up.
Well, let me just ask you this, because this is my issue with Tatum, right? We joke back and forth, we text back and forth, and I think it's a little exaggerated when people think that I think he's a stiff or something like that. No, I don't. I do think he's a great player. He's one of the best players in the league, okay? But, when I evaluate players, there's some players that have that little, we put up the it factor. Some players have that little.
But this is the Olympics. It doesn't matter about it factor.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just talking about.
Playing. You can have Curry take that last shot. You can have LeBron. You can have Durant. I have no problem. That guy should be in the lineup as number 5 or number 6 on that roster that I see in front of me.
Yes.
And still be playing more minutes than those guys. And I'm not even worrying about the it factor. Not even close. Let the other 3 take it, which Durant did, which Curry did, and which LeBron did anyways. Not a problem. But I still think playing the game in those 5, 4, 5, or 6 should have been Jason Tatum. That's what I said.
Right. And just as a separate thing, not the Olympics, just in general.
Yeah.
The thing about Tatum, right? I think he's a great player. Mm-hmm. I think he does a lot of things. You're right. He gets double teamed all the time. He's improved over the past few years. Mm-hmm. The way he racks up the assists and all the different things he does. He rebounds.
Yeah.
There are times he can really take over the whole floor during the game. No question about it. But then you have the category of like greatness, and then you have like the super elite, we talked about it before, the Tom Brady, the Patrick Mahomes, the big Poppy at the plate with the bases loaded. Right. That guy, that boy in the clutch, Larry Bird taking a shot in the closing seconds, or Michael Jordan or somebody like that, somebody that you just go, boy, this guy, man, when the chips are on the table, when the spotlight is on the most, when the pressure is mounting the most, this guy comes through every damn time, right? I don't see that with this guy. You know what
Okay. Do you see that with LeBron?
I think he's a little overrated.
Do you see that with LeBron? Do you see that?
Well, I think LeBron over the course of his career, I would say, yeah.
Okay, Steph Curry.
Yeah, clearly Steph Curry.
Okay, Kevin Durant.
I haven't really watched him enough, although he hit a clutch shot in that Olympics. But he's. I think he.
Great.
I'm not sure about him.
So again, there's my 3. Here we go. Does Booker do that? Nope. Anthony Edwards do that? Nope. Embiid do that? Nope. Holiday? Right. Nope. Davis? Nope. All these guys are no. I'm giving you, Paul, what you want. I'm giving you Curry. I'm giving you Durant. And I'm giving you LeBron. I'm giving you. Absolutely. But I'm also, you have to give me that if you do not think Tatum was the 4th, 5th, or 6th,
you should have played him more.
Olympic team, I have to disagree with you.
No, he buried him for some reason. I don't know why he did that.
I don't either.
Must
and
have
again,
some reason.
And listen, so
but they still won anyway.
Right. In 2020, Curry, Booker.
You did some homework here.
Davis and Adebayo were the only other guys that were on that team in 2020.
Yep.
And Tatum, because LeBron was injured. I don't know what happened with Curry on that one. So I'm not sure on that. But he was second with 15.2 points a game. Durant was number 1 with 20.7. And they beat France. They lost to France in game 1. Then they ran 5 in a row, and they met France in the finals, and they beat France. And so, they won the gold medal. So now you come to this year where he's gone from 22 to 26, he gets accepted. Now, even when he gets accepted, you go to any article, the roster for the 2024 men's basketball team has come out. And as soon as they say it, LeBron, Curry, Durant, Tatum, in that order. And they say it in every article. Everyone. LeBron, Curry, Durant, Tatum. LeBron, Curry, Durant, Tatum.
You're talking about USA. You're talking about USA players, right? You're talking about USA players, right?
The USA players for the men's basketball 2024 Olympics.
All right.
Finally, they picked the team. The articles come out. This is who's chosen for the Olympics. Those 4 guys led the pack every single time. That's telling me that the guy should be a top 5 starter. If they said in them articles, LeBron, Curry, Embiid, Booker, Bam, and Bottle, then I go, oh, I guess they really like those guys, so they're probably going to be starting. But they always came out with Durant, Tatum, Curry, and LeBron. So I don't know. I think he got snuffed very badly, not because I'm a Tatum fan, but I think other people saw it as well. And I just think there should have been more to that situation than what there was. Kerr played it off, said I played what was best for me, what I needed. Okay, coach's decision. Maybe he's got a different offense that fits better for those guys than Tatum. I don't know all that. Who knows? But that's why he did what he did. So that's why there was a debate about it, and I get the debate.
All right. Now, putting aside the USA for a second, just putting aside the USA, right? Yep. NBA now, NBA, right?
NBA.
So now you got to put in Luka Doncic. You got to put in Jokic. Some people say Alexander, maybe. I don't think he's in the top 5 in the NBA.
Maybe not. I'll go top 10. Yeah, top 10. I wouldn't say top 5. I'd go top 10. I have no problem saying that.
All right. If you want to jump in this discussion, it's 774-218-3393. Hello to Carol Downey-Robleski. Thank you for looking in. David Mead. Yep. This is not a political show, though, but thank you very much for looking in. If you want to talk, if you want to talk sports, give us a call. In the meantime, we say hello to Ben in Dartmouth. You're in Santos on Sports.
Good evening, Paul, Chris. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you today?
How are you?
I am doing well. First things first, I watched the game last night and, devastated by the loss first, but I can just be impressed as that, to say is that Jason Tatum actually had a little bit of a revenge game despite the loss yesterday. I feel like, 32 points is fine for him. That's normal for him this season. He's the leading scorer in almost every single game this season for the Celtics. But, I think, Steve Kerr is a jerk for putting him on the bench because he just won the NBA Finals. For crying out loud, Derek White had more playing time than him throughout the entire Olympics. So, it was just like, it was a douche move. I'm going to be honest.
All right. Well, I got to tell you, I obviously Chris agrees with you. Let me see if Chris is we kind of like had some issues here with Chris's feed. So Chris is going to come back in just a moment. But yeah, you agree with Chris. The thing about this is, right, that, I think obviously fans are going to be biased in favor of Tatum. And Tatum is a great player, but I still don't think he's clutch. You know what I mean? That's the thing with him. Like last night, he really could have, the fans really wanted him to go off and stick it to Kerr. And of course, it didn't quite happen. I think he could have done more, right?
Yeah, I feel like some points is that Jason Tatum is sometimes inconsistent when it comes to clutch moments.
Say that again?
I feel like Tatum's more like inconsistent in clutch moments.
An assistant.
Inconsistent.
Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, yeah. All right.
Yep. I agree with that.
All right, so we lost Chris for a second, but basically Ben said that he thought that Steve Kerr was a jerk.
Yep.
And that the way that he handled Tatum in the Olympics was really a douche move.
Yep.
So I said,
listen, I know Ben has heard me talk about and rant for quite a few bit here about this, and I agree. And he has been inconsistent, but what I saw from 2020 to 2024 in 4 years of improvement from 22 years old to 26 years old. I think he's gotten better every year with his game, his all-around game, his shooting,
Absolutely.
his rebounds, his assists, his steals. He's done a lot in those 4 years to contribute. They got some great players out there. I understand. But in American basketball, in that roster that I saw, I think he should have been 4, 5, or 6 easily as a starter for that Olympic team. But like I said, Kerr made his decision. It is what it is.
The other issue I have with Tatum, right? I think he carries himself okay, but I think he has this aura that he thinks he's better than he is, and then he's like a little on a cocky side. And then when there's 30 seconds or 15 seconds left in the game, he takes the shot every time. He doesn't let anybody take the shot. You can say, well, that's the coach. Well, I don't know. He takes the shot, and the coach doesn't stop him.
Mm-hmm.
And every time he takes the shot, it goes clank. Every single time. I don't think I've ever seen it go in.
I wouldn't go clank on every single shot.
I don't think I've ever
averaging
seen it go
32
in.
points, Paul. You can't go clank on every shot when you're averaging 32 points.
No, but not in the last 15 seconds of the game, though.
No, that's not true. The inconsistency, yes, it's not been there for him. But I would definitely not. How about the other night when he tied it and they went to overtime? Okay, that was 5 seconds left when he made it. Okay,
I don't know. I think it was.
He made the shot.
Yes, he did. No, it wasn't 5 seconds. It was longer than 5 seconds.
It was 5 because you even asked me how come he didn't let it go down to like 2 or 1, so they didn't have time to throw one up.
Yeah, he shot it. He should have shot it a little bit later. But then after doing that, no, that was a good shot. That was a good shot. And then after that, he went 0 for overtime.
Inconsistent, right? And Jaylen Brown threw an air ball. What do you want? They all did it. They all do it. It is what it is. It's the inconsistency. Now, Paul, let me ask you this question: where are you getting cocky from? Does he talk cocky? Does he talk cocky? Does he act?
Yeah, kind of like. I think he acts cocky. Yeah, I think he does.
I want to know what you see. What did he say?
Just the way he talks, just the way
he said one thing. He said one thing, and it discouraged you, and that's why you don't like him. He came out and said, "I want to be the best basketball player out there. I can be, and I am one of the best." Since he has said that, you have been against him. You've been a hater ever since.
All right. One time he said he was the best player in the league.
He did.
I'm like, hey, hold your horses, pal. Hold your horses.
Ever since he said he was going to get you.
And he said yesterday, they said, hey, the fans wanted you to come out and stick it to Steve Kerr and all that as well. One thing about Jason Tatum does whatever the F he wants to do, and I have to be me and all that. I'm like, yeah, you failed. You knew the fans wanted you to stick it to them, and you didn't do it. You failed. But anyway, Ben, what do you want to say about all this?
Overall, you were just talking about the other day. He took up a shot and then he clanked it. But let's talk about Jaylen Brown for a second. We're going to shift gears from there. Jaylen Brown, in the last second of I don't know what game it was. They lost. They gave the ball to him and to tie the game up or something.
Yeah,
like
Brown blew the shot. Yeah, he did.
He blew the shot.
Yes, he did.
I would have gotten somebody from Foxborough High School to make that shot, or Dartmouth High School to get that shot.
We sound like Bill Belichick, Foxborough High School.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, look, I am always making the argument that Brown is very close to Tatum, but then every time Brown has a bad night or something like that, Chris points it out to me. Well, look at Brown. Well, I don't think Brown is like the second coming of Michael Jordan either. I think they're. Yeah. I think they're both.
You're comparing him to Tatum. So if you're comparing him to Tatum, then he's going to have equal stats or equal game or equal whatever to Tatum. So
he was equal. He missed the shot just like Tatum would have. So they were about the same. But anyway,
and I think he only had like maybe 15 points that night compared to someone's 37.
Right.
But we don't want to go there because.
Hey, when the chips were down, who was the MVP when the chips are on the table? When the chips are on the table, who's the MVP?
The Boston Celtics. They won the NBA championship.
No, I know, but who was the MVP?
The NBA, the Boston Celtics.
Who was the MVP?
The Boston Celtics.
Ben, what, like you said, you think there are some inconsistencies in his game? Is that right?
Clutch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right. And in the clutch, you
Not
would
the
agree with
game,
me on that?
clutch shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, anything else you want to say about the Celtics? Celtics are still the best team in the league, in my view, though. I mean, look at the way Peyton Pritchard is playing. You know?
Yeah, the way Peyton Pritchard played was pretty nasty. I'm just saying, like,
Chris and I really like Peyton Pritchard.
What's Neemias Queta? No, I forgot how to pronounce his name. Queta.
Yeah, you're talking about that's he's
he played good last night.
cousin Queta there from Portugal. Used to
Prince.
call him every time Cairo Santos hits an extra point, we say his cousin Cairo. So this guy here was born in Lisbon. I feel a connection.
No relation.
He had a great game, didn't he? Oh my God, he was how tall is he? He's like a freaking force out there.
I think he's like 7'2".
Oh my God, he was nasty. Oh, I'd love to see him continue to develop. And now there's another big guy. When Porzingis misses every other game, they can stick this guy in there. He was nasty, I thought, last night.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Ben. All right.
I appreciate it, Paul.
Thank you very much, and thank you to Michael Consaccio is letting me have it. So I expect that because I know I'm in the minority here.
He's not letting you have it.
He says Chris is correct.
Right, but he's not letting you have it.
No, and I Michael Consaccio, he knows basketball backwards and forwards. Kerr had an outstanding staff, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
And even after him getting crucified for not playing Tatum, he still decided not to play him, but he definitely belongs in the top 6. Okay, well, Kerr said he needed more help on the perimeter, and that's where White and Holiday come in. Okay, all right. So actually, yeah, now that I read the whole thing, I'm supposed to read the fine print. Now that I read the whole thing, I can see that, that he makes some good commentary. Thank you very much, Michael Consaccio. You are a very knowledgeable person, so we appreciate your comment. And while we're speaking about knowledgeable people, let's say hello to Nelson in Fall River.
Whoa, this guy's alive? Whoa.
He's there. Hey, Nelson.
Yes, I'm always here. I'm always here, guys.
He doesn't not call when things are not going good. You have to. He's a stand-up guy,
That's right.
Yes,
even when times are bad.
Well, I still call.
All right. So
I want to say this. I want to say this before I get into this question.
Yes.
The Yankees. The Dodgers didn't beat the Yankees. The Yankees beat the Yankees.
What an inning that was, huh? Oh.
Game 1. They should have won Game 1. That was a mental error from Aaron Boone, and I hope he learns from that. But it's the past. The Dodgers won. And as to your question, was it okay for Steve Kerr to use Tatum like how he did? Absolutely. And I hope he does it again. Every single time.
Why do you say that?
Oh, because
he's a Celtic and not a Knick.
Just he doesn't like Boston.
Exactly.
Has nothing to do with Tatum himself.
No, probably because he's not. If he was on the Knicks, he'd be like, "Oh, he should play him every minute of the game."
Absolutely. But this is Tatum hadn't had an opportunity to beat Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr is saying, "This is why I benched you. You couldn't even beat me with your own team."
So that's a lot.
Well, you know why? Because JB wasn't there to bail him out.
That's probably why JB.
If JB was there, they would have won the game.
Yeah, just worry about that hip flexor. Just worry about that hip flexor.
In this season, I am very, very surprised that Cleveland is 9-0. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
The Cavaliers playing well. Indiana playing well. Orlando playing well. Got some teams right now that are stepping up their game. I agree with you, Nelson. The East has gotten a little bit more younger. They got a little bit more hungrier, and they got a lot more running. And as Paul said, should we bring back that 3-point line a little bit more? They got a lot of guys that want to fire up that three, and not just the Celtics, on every team, because it's like the new NBA. You live and die by that three, and they just go it from every team, not just the Celtics.
Do you think that three has gotten a little out of control?
Yeah, I think it has, half-court shots. But we can blame we all can blame Curry for that one because he changed the entire game when he started, shooting those threes from half court and everywhere else. He changed all that, but it's going to be very interesting with the East if it continues this way and it stays competitive. I don't know. I think Boston might have a fight on their hands to get back to the finals.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, during games, yeah. Now again, can you withstand a 7-game series? So to me, it's more of they're going to lose to Cleveland maybe once or twice. They might lose to Orlando. They might lose to Indy, which you figure that stuff will happen during the season. It's when you get to, do I have everybody with me? Is Brown here? Is Porzingis here? I got my whole team in a 7-game series. Then it will tell you how good these other teams can be. Which, Nelson, they might, when you're young and hungry like that, and now, Celtics are the team to beat, and everybody, thinks they're playing for the NBA championship every time they play the Celtics. So every team wants to knock them off the top. And definitely I can see the East being strong.
Well, maybe this year when the Celtics play these teams in the playoffs, the teams that they're playing don't have their best player injured.
I will say this: what would be really interesting is if Tatum, the Celtics win it again, right? And the Olympics come around, and he has more championships. And if Steve Kerr's coaching, it'll just be interesting if he benches him again. I don't know if he'll bench him again, but I don't know. I think the Celtics, they're going to make another run. I mean, you have to give them that. They are the defending champs. So we're going to see how that goes.
All right. As far as all your New York teams, what happened to all your New York teams?
Well, Nelson, let me go back to game 5, Nelson. The drop by Aaron Judge, the bad play by Volpe, and the not covering first base by Garrett Cole.
It's 6 outs.
In one inning, to see that happen was quite
Chris,
something to see in the World Series. Just really can't believe it.
Chris, I'll tell you this right now. That series should have went back to Cali. The Yankees, they already proved that they can hang with the Dodgers. Was going to go very competitive, but when Freddie, I call him Freddie Krueger, when he hit that grand slam, and when they won that game 1, it was a gut punch, But I hope Aaron Boone learns from that. But the Yankees can hang with them. I hope they sign Soto. I mean, what the numbers that I'm hearing is like $700 million. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's a big price tag, but he is worth that money. But if he doesn't go to the Yankees, the Yankees, they could fill some holes. I mean, I hope that they could potentially sign Bregman to third base if he doesn't sign with Houston. Mm-hmm. I mean, that'll be a huge pickup right there.
What?
Well, watching the Yankees do one of these.
Yeah, no, the offseasons is something that'd be interesting. But, to watch the Yankees lose it in that fashion, Nelson, is something that you usually don't see, from a championship team. Now, both teams, Dodgers had injuries, Yankees had injuries, starting pitchers, different places like that. But the bankroll.
Yeah.
Top 2 teams with a big bankroll make the World Series. So they keep spending it. Let's see who keeps coming. And Bregman could be one.
My final thought for all of New England, understand why Robert Kraft lent his plane for the Dodgers. It's because he wanted to see and feel what champions feel like, because he knows that the Patriots will not be in the Super Bowl ever again.
Well, I think he knows what championships feel like,
Well, going forward, I meant.
Yeah, going forward.
You're never going to taste champagne. You're never going to taste that. he is never. That's why he lent that plane. He said, let me celebrate with them and get that feeling.
All right, Nelson. Well, thank you very much for calling. Have a good week. All right, Nelson from Fall River,
Thanks,
one of our favorite callers. I have to tell you, I'm a Red Sox fan. I don't know that I go hard against the Yankees, but I root against the Yankees. But they win, whatever. But I have to tell you, as a baseball fan, I kind of felt bad for Aaron Judge because I do like the way he carries himself. I think he's a great player. He had 58 home runs during the regular season. We got into the playoffs, got into a little bit of a funk, and he hit that big home run earlier in the game. And boy, the Yankees were like, oh boy, if he can get hot like Stanton is, maybe we can get this thing back to Los Angeles and turn this thing into a series. And to have him just not catch a routine fly ball in the biggest moment, boy, that was really tough to watch. I mean, I really felt bad for him after he dropped that ball because that was the beginning of the avalanche against the Yankees.
You got your paper, Paul? Where's your paper?
Oh, the it factor.
Where's your paper? What's the matter, Judge? What's the matter? Judge didn't have it in the World Series. Now you feel bad for him because
well, I did feel bad.
Whoa, wait a minute now. He batted 167 in the playoffs. During the regular season, he's MVP. He's this, that. All of a sudden now, Paul feels bad for Aaron.
No, maybe he doesn't have the it factor. Well, maybe he doesn't have the it factor.
How you go from this to let me give him hugs and kisses? I feel bad for him.
Well, I think that maybe he doesn't have this.
Oh, maybe he doesn't. But see, you didn't bring it out until I brought it up.
Right. No, he may not have this.
He didn't have that great of a playoff, and if it wasn't for Stanton picking him up and Soto picking him up, he really would have stuck out a little bit more. So, Judge just did not have it. I was.
How about this factor? I got another factor that's is totally different than the it factor. That's the Dak factor.
So and that is
here's a guy who not only doesn't have the it factor, he's like the reverse of the it factor.
I never said he had it, so
I know.
on that one.
I know you.
I never wanted him to be quarterback of the Cowboys in the first place.
Yeah, it's too bad he got hurt.
Nothing I can do about that. I've said that from day one. I don't think he has what it takes to win a Super Bowl.
So are the Cowboys? They're what, a game under 500 now?
No, 3-5.
3-5. Oh my goodness! Wow, they only
and Dak's out for 2 more weeks, so
they've only won one more game than the Patriots, for God's sakes.
They got a lot of issues.
Yeah,
their run defense is terrible. They can't run the ball. They got one wide receiver. That's it. They got nothing.
All right, so let's swing around and talk a little football while we can. Again, 774-218-3393. And talk about any of the subjects that are on deck. Before we move on, let's go back to the phones because we do have a phone call coming in. Ryan from Rochester, hello.
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Just another night over at Staples. Sinuses are freaking all over the place with this weather. But, hey, give my contribution nonetheless.
All right, I appreciate that.
I appreciate it.
So with this question, honestly, like I didn't really have a take coming into this about how Steve Kerr used him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
My thought process is like to me, the fact that Jaylen Brown was left off the Olympic team was to me more egregious than that. So it's like I don't truly know what Steve Kerr's motive was there, but all I know is that if I were doing that, if I were doing that, it would be more of the reason like okay, you just went through a deep playoff run. Like I know that it was mostly you only lost 3 games throughout the entirety of the playoffs, but you still went through a long playoff run. You're just coming off an NBA Finals. Sit down and rest a little bit. We'll save you for the gold medal game or what have you. But if it was any sort of malicious reasoning, haha, we beat you in the finals years ago, I think you suck, then it's just pure stupidity. But the constant back and forth, if the reasoning was for fatigue reasons, then I get it. But anything else, it's just pettiness for no reason, because it's not like the Warriors lost to the Celtics in that finals.
Ryan, he picked Tatum. He leaves Brown off. Obviously, Porzingis banged up. He picks the 4th and 5th player on the Celtics. He picks Holiday and White before Brown. And then, obviously, they play more minutes than Tatum. So, basically, he's just sticking it to you saying, I don't need Brown. Who cares about Tatum? I'll play their fourth and fifth best player, and I'll take them instead. And so that's what he goes and do. Talk about a slap in the face to Tatum and Brown when you go out and take the guys below you. Now, nothing against White and nothing against Holiday, but I think Paul thinks that Brown and Tatum are better than those two guys. So to watch him do that and then leave one off, and then they play more than the other one is just a shot in my eyes.
Yeah, but then he explained it that maybe he used those guys for particular reasons for the perimeter and so forth.
You're hearing that from Michael Consacio.
Yeah, that's what he
Kerr?
said. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Kerr said that out specifically and said, well, I mean, Jalen can shoot the three. Tatum can shoot the three. I mean, if White and Holiday, all they do is just shoot the three during that Olympics, I'd say, okay, well, then you got 3-point specialists. And I guess that's why you chose them. But to see them over the top two guys on the Celtics is just surprising to me.
So, Ryan, we have these little debates, and sometimes you're off to the side. And Chris is zinging me about Tatum, and I'm zinging him back, and you just kind of like stay off to the side. I'm like, oh, how come Ryan's not saying anything?
Hey, I'm just here for the entertainment. I'm just
right.
sitting here watching fireworks. It's like I'm watching. It's like watching a cage fight.
Clank.
Clank. This is Tatum in the last second.
What do you got on the other side? Air ball?
What is that?
On the other side, air ball? Because when he played a game,
because of Brown.
I saw his last shot was an air ball, and then I haven't seen him since because he's got a hip flexor injury. So his last shot was an air ball. That's all I know.
Well, maybe that's because of the injury.
Maybe that's why he threw an air ball, because he had a hip flexor injury. I don't know.
Oh, I got another one here. Here's a good one here. This is Tatum in the last second of the game.
What do we got?
Clank City. Anyway.
Put that on a T-shirt.
Put them on.
All right. So anything else on your mind, Ryan? What about some of the other things going on in local sports here?
Well, it's honestly, to me, I'm very surprised that Montgomery hasn't been scapegoated so far, because the Bruins have been off to a freaking terrible start.
Mm-hmm.
My take on that whole thing is like, at what point does the Jacobs family look at this whole thing? It's like, and look at it and just say, okay, from the front office down, it's just not good enough. At some point in time, Don Sweeney has to be held accountable for some of the roster decisions. Nikita Zadorov has been an absolute bust so far. I'm pretty sure he's probably like one of the top, defensemen in terms of penalties this year. Pasternak has been playing terrible, not saying trade him, but he's making $11 million a year and usually is a 60 plus goal scorer. So he's good on Montgomery for kind of putting his foot down. It's like, okay, after we're benching you this third period, you're not playing well enough at all. But just some of the roster stuff, it's like it's just like I can't stand Don Sweeney with some of this stuff. And my stance on the Patriots. Go Chicago! I want that number 1 pick, baby. Trade on down, get all those picks possible.
All right, I don't know what you think about that, Chris. I have a hard time rooting against my team. Even though I look back at it now, we could have had Daniels, right? But I don't know. Drake May's doing all right.
That's fair.
What do you think of Drake May, Ryan?
Honestly, I thought he's looked immensely better than I expected.
Me
to
too.
me, really, he's
too.
the only good thing going with the team right now. Coming into not even into the draft, we looked at him saying this is a guy who's probably going to need to sit the longest, like possibly a year. And I'm happy that they started Jacoby Brissett and they sat him for a little bit. But I thought this was going to be one of those guys that in terms of the footwork, with like the arm motion, the decision making, he's going to need a lot of development. Now, obviously, there's some decision making that still needs to be worked on. But obviously, he's a rookie. But he's come in looking a lot more well polished than I expected. So I look at the team right now. I'm like, oh, okay, it's Drake May is the best player on the team, and everything else sucks right now. So I'm at least happy about that. Which is why, I get what you're saying. I don't want to root against the team, but at the same time, I'm it's not like the team's kind of going anywhere. So I'm not in the market for useless, any useless wins here and there. Like you had mentioned, that's probably why we didn't get our hands on Jaden Daniels last year, is because we won against Pittsburgh, we won against Denver. I'm just kind of looking for stockpile as much as possible, because obviously we don't need to take a quarterback at number one. So you can just trade down with, say, the Raiders, get a whole bunch of picks, then pick a receiver or a tackle. Just that kind of mentality.
Did we, Paul, quote me if I'm wrong, I think it's 3 years. Did we 3 years ago, all three of us, talk about some quarterback who was doing the same thing and led your team to a playoffs at 9-7 and had all this hope about how great Mac Jones was going to be and how this, that, and the other thing was going on? Can I say that 3 years ago? Am I correct when that happened?
Well, I think we're optimistic.
It sounds very similar and familiar.
It was 10-7. Yeah, it was
10-7. But I don't
made the playoffs, and you guys said the same thing. Boy, this kid's got the it factor. He's got this. He can do that. He's this. He's that. He's the other thing. 3 years ago, this sounds very familiar. When Mac Jones did it, and now when May's doing it. Now, the difference is quality of talent was better 3 years ago than obviously the quality of talent now. So if May is doing the same as what Mac is doing with the quality of talent he has, then yes, May has a step up on Mac. If that's what you guys are seeing, what I'm seeing.
Well, I think Mac,
I agree,
isn't as good as May. Like, May can do a lot of things that Mac couldn't do. He looks like he's bigger, he's stronger, he looks more comfortable, he avoids the rush, he kind of steps up back and forth in the pocket, which even Zappe did better than Mac Jones. And then he can run the ball if he has to. And I think it's a little dangerous. I even after that concussion, or even if it wasn't a concussion, they put him in the concussion protocol. I thought he was going to be a little bit more, conservative, but still he's running the ball and taking hits. And I don't know, that makes me nervous.
10-7 and made the playoffs.
Yeah. Again, you had a much better team, and you had
still led
the
your
offensive
team.
coordinator, the offensive coordinator, McDaniels, and he was like, okay, run the ball, hand it off, run the ball, throw a pass here and there, like it wasn't really Mac Jones carrying the team or anything, I wasn't a big Mac Jones guy. In fact, I wanted Zappe to go in, if you remember correctly.
You sure did. But you did it when it was the 10-7 season. You did it when it was the following season.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. When things started to go a little bad.
All right, Ryan. Well, thank you very much for the call as usual, and let's keep an eye and see how things go.
Hey Ryan, you got some playoffs coming up this week with Old Colony?
We do. This Friday we're going to tomorrow. We're going down to Narragansett at 7 p.m. So here's open. Go Cougars.
Well, good luck to you on that one, and try to make it to the following week, and then hopefully have a big victory. I think you play not on Thanksgiving morning, the Wednesday night. Is that correct?
That is correct. Tri-County, if I remember correctly.
Tri-County, yes. Well, good luck in the seasons and the weeks ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Thanks very much, Ryan.
No problem. Thanks for having me on again, guys.
All right. Ryan from Rochester, one of our favorites here on Santos on Sports. So, yeah, the Bruins have kind of got off to a very shaky start, something a little bit different than we saw last year and certainly the year before under Montgomery. And then there's this call like, well, maybe, the team is not responding to him anymore. Sometimes that happens. These coaches.
It wasn't last year. It was the year before when they won the President's Cup with the best record. Is that correct?
Yeah, but even last year, they still had a pretty good record. They weren't the best team in the league, but they were up there. This year, they're off to the shaky start. And, then there was this incident where Montgomery grabbed the jersey of Marchand, the captain.
He yelled at Marchand.
Yelled at him. Bench Pasternak, So is it, you think he's lost the team a little bit?
No, I think he might be trying to shake things up and say to these other guys like, whoa, if he can get mad at Marchand, the captain, boy, what do you think he could do with me? We better get ourselves together and get this going, because I've seen that before from coaches, as well as your leading scorer for the last, decade or whatever it is in Pasternak, and say, hey, let's get your game back together, shifting lines, moving people around, Swayman in, not looking good. Okay, Corpusalo the next day. He's trying to shake things up and figure out, hey, how can I get this team back to winning ways? So I don't mind what he's trying. maybe just the personnel and the talent is just not good enough from what he got from Providence, and see what he can do. Where's Zacha, like they wanted to? Where's the big guy, Brizow, up front, Charlie Coyle, and some of these other guys that they've expected some, bigger roles and just not getting the job done. So, I think it's a combination of a lot of things for them right now. Obviously, having Swayman come in late, that's never good. Like they have him fresh coming right in. Had that time, took a couple of games off, then got back in and back and forth and stuff like that. But, I'm hoping for a little bit more success down the road. I don't think they're reeling yet, but they're not trending in the right direction.
One of the talk show hosts in Boston, he was like, when Swayman was holding out, one of the positions was, trade his ass. This guy wants too much money. You get a boat, maybe you get a couple of goal scorers or something, and then you go with the other guy. Well, I don't know anything about Corpusalo. I mean, obviously he's played some good games here and there, but whether or not he can actually carry the team. But, it's always good to have a number one goalie and a guy that, is one of the tops in the league. But again, he is taking a lot of room off the cap. And so now that he is held out for the money and he's purportedly one of the best goalies in the league, and I know he got off to the slow start because of the training camp and all that, we really need him to play like he did in the playoffs. That's what the Bruins need in order to...
Or you could have kept the guy from before.
Well, yes.
Who's in Ottawa now.
Yes.
And kept him, and then made the move with Swayman and got more pieces of the puzzle with scorers and so forth, and still knowing, hey, I got a backup who's actually probably a number one if you wanted to go in that direction. So they went the other way, but that was something maybe the talk show host was thinking about too.
Well, one of the things that's unfortunate for the Bruins, they're under a lot of criticism over the past few years. And I think a lot of it just is that the unfortunate fact is that they're in the same conference with some of the top teams in the league. I mean, there's some good teams out west too, but, they play Florida like in the first round, who ends up winning the Stanley Cup. And they say, well, the Bruins got knocked off in the first round. Well, then the team out west didn't have to play them until the finals. So they say, well, we won the first round, and then we won the Western Conference final. Yeah, well, you didn't have to play Florida. If you had to play them in the first round, you would have lost them too. So a lot of it has to do with just who you have to play in what round, not how many rounds you win. Oh, well, we won 3 rounds this year. We only won 2 rounds that year. Well, who did you play? Like Florida is a tough draw in the early going, and Tampa Bay, another one, Like it's the Stanley Cup champion, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions a couple of years ago. They're looking tough. The Rangers are no joke. There's a lot of teams there that you don't really want to play any of them in the first round.
No, and I'm sure that during the season, Paul, there are times when you find yourself in 5th or 6th place, 7th or 8th, and you know that you can't go any further, which means you're going to make the playoffs. So you can kind of sit and rest a few. You can make some changes in their lines. You can make some changes with your goalies. And then all of a sudden, I'm the 8th seed. Let's go get them. I got my full team, and we're ready to go. So I'm sure teams have done that in the past. And I think Florida was one of them last year because that's a very good hockey team to be a number 8 seed, which was really surprising to see. But they were. So, I know there's injuries during the year and things going on. But I think you can kind of find your way just to kind of sneak around, not knowing that, hey, I really have to work out hard here, just enough to know that, hey, I'm making the playoffs. I have no issues, and I'll be ready once the playoffs come. So, yeah, those things happen.
I've been watching hockey for a long time, right? So when I was a kid, right, obviously there was expansion. And then there was a point where they expanded the playoffs to 16 teams, right? Okay, 16 teams like you have now. But then there was only 21 teams in the league. So 16 out of 21 made the playoffs, which I thought was ridiculous. I thought that was absurd. Now you have 16 out of 31, so you got to be at least in the top half. Okay. But when it was 16 out of 21, like the Bruins at that time, you still had, the Bruins of the late 70s, early 80s. I mean, they come in first or second. And the first team that they played was a joke. It was like a team that was 20 games under 500. That's who they play in the first round if you won enough games during the regular season. Okay, now you get to the second round.
So back then it was 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15.
Yeah, right. Which, I know a lot of people didn't like that. Okay. I liked it in the sense that I thought it was fairer. So if you had the best, if you had the best record in the league, you get the worst team in the playoffs in the first
Yep.
round. Okay, well
Yep.
now it's different by conference, and I understand they want to have rivalries and all that.
Yep.
So the first round was always like, okay, weak opponent, some team 20 games under 500. Then the next round a little bit tougher. Then the next round, like that. But then this thing here, the Bruins, they had the best season, one of the best season in the history of the NHL. Okay, congratulations, you get Florida in the first round. It's like, oh Jesus, are you kidding me? What kind of a reward is that? So I mean, again, I don't know that they should go back to 1 versus 16, but there was something about the fact that I liked that if you earned the best record during the regular season, it's like in football, if you earn the best record, you get the bye, right? You get the rest while everybody else is beating each other up. So that's something to play for, right?
Yep.
But over here in the NHL, there's nothing really to play for. You just get in the tournament and then roll the dice, like you said.
Yeah, I think the only thing is now is just that you're home. You're the home team.
And
So,
home ice doesn't mean anything either.
Home ice doesn't really,
No.
mean as much probably with some of the others. But no, I can agree with that. Maybe there's a buy in there. You work hard to what you played for, things like that. So yeah, maybe that might be something to tweak around in the upcoming years. That's something to think about.
Hey, did you watch the last game that Kansas City played? Kansas City Chiefs.
That
went
was
into overtime. The Monday Night Football went into overtime.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Who they play? Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. Right. So
Tampa Bay. Yeah.
There's another example of this right here. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I enjoy watching Kansas City. I know my friends on the Patriots Nation, they get a little like, they really don't want to see Mahomes do well. But I totally disagree with that. I like watching great players do great things. Again, he's got a lot of his career ahead of him. There may be times where he can't come through. I don't know. But so far, he does seem to be that guy that comes through when you need him. When the moment is the biggest, he tends to bring his game to another level. Now, again, there's a long way to go. So that may not happen the rest of his career. It could. We don't know. We have to see. But certainly in the early part of his career, I think he falls into that category.
Yeah, he's had some faults early, and then he picked up his game and got better. But I think Mahomes got really good when he decided that I'm going to run when only I have to run, instead of running a lot, where he started to take a beating and he was getting injured and hurt. And he's like, hey, I'm good enough that I don't need to do this. I'll do it when I need to in clutch situations. And ever since then, I think he's been outstanding because he is a good thinker of the game. And you can see it even after every play. He's already thinking of what he saw and what's coming up next. And he can audible and make some changes to know that it's going to fit him, whether it's to get Kelsey, whether it's to, fake it and give it to Hunt instead, whether it's to go deep, whatever it is. But he's a tremendous manager of the game as well. If you need a long drive, he can get you a long drive. If you need that quick 3 plays to get a field goal, he'll get you those 3 plays so you can get that field goal. So he does a lot of good things, but, just besides throwing the ball. He really is a smart ball player. And there's only an elite few that can make that. Obviously, Brady was one of them. That kind of, you kind of get Montana, that kind of thing. It was always good thinking. You have some great throwers. Like Marino was a great thrower, but I don't know if he was a great thinker of the game and that kind of thing. He was just a gunslinger that could let it go. But those 3 guys come to mind to me that do a lot more than just being a quarterback. They're leaders. They're managers. They got a lot on their plate with the time. They do it very well. And he's one of them right up there. I get where the fans come from, especially around here. They're thinking Kansas City is going to be that next team that, Mahomes is going to be better than Brady. The Chiefs are going to be more Super Bowls than the Pats. The whole thing. I talked to my friends who were big Pats fans, and they're like, "Oh, I can't stand the Chiefs," and that's the reason why. And we get it. We understand it. But give credit where credit's due. That is a good football player.
Right. You mentioned the thinking part of the game. That's where Brady was just tremendous. Again, he could duck out of a hit in the pocket, like he could feel the pressure, but the way he thought the game and the way he could see everything that was going on. I mean, he couldn't run from here to right over there. But as far as, him thinking the game, and by the way, you mentioned the running, right? You're absolutely right. Mahomes adjusted that a little bit. He's much safer. He runs out of bounds and all that. And there's the thing with Drake May, right? After we went into that concussion protocol and all that, I was thinking to myself, all right, you know what? Maybe the next week he'd be a little bit more careful. I don't want him to stop running the ball altogether because it's a big part of his game, but I thought he might be just a little bit more conservative. Oh no, he's running in there and he's going head first and he took a hit in the shoulder, and I'm thinking, oh my God, somebody's got to say to this guy, look, you run. I mean, he did go into the slide a few times, but I still think he's just a little bit too aggressive with the running, and it makes me a little concerned.
Well, even when that happened, I mean, after that game ended and they showed highlights on NFL channel, ESPN, CBS, every commentator from Jimmy Johnson to this coach, that coach, Rex Ryan, all these guys, they said, young man, you need to get down. This is not a quarterback run kind of league. It's too fast. They're too big. Slide or you're going to be in trouble. And they all said it. So someone needs to talk to them. I get there are times that you have to make the play, get the first down, and just live for another one. There was twice, Paul. He got the first down, should have slid. He continued on. Got to be careful. Got to be careful. In today's game, it's just too fast and too big.
Young man, you're not in college anymore.
Yeah, just, you want
Somebody's
the guy to survive.
Oh, I know. And I like what I see so far. I do. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank those who comment and those who called in. We'd like to thank our sponsors, John Seed. You can catch him at Attorney John Seed, johnseedlaw.com, Lakeville Athletic Club, Lakeville, Massachusetts, Citywide Glass, Dartmouth, Fall River, and Taunton, and Scotty's Pub, 202 Pleasant Street in Fall River. Hey, that was a fun show. I think we had a real fun one today. And I want to go on the record here. Yeah. I like Tatum. I like him.
I know you do.
It's just that I think the greatness here, and then there's that second level, and I just think he's in the second level.
I have no problem with that.
It's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, listen. I have no problem. I have no problem with that at all. I can agree. He'll make the elite level when he's more consistent.
Oh, sorry.
At ends of the game. When he's more consistent at ends of the game. Simple as that.
I'm telling you, there's going to be a game this year where one of these happens, and I'm going to say to Chris Klingler, then there's going to be a game. We haven't seen it since you and I have been doing this back and forth. There's going to be a game where he comes down with 1 second left, and he throws one up from 3, and it goes swish, and everybody goes, oh boy, I'm going to have to put my phone on airplane mode that night.
No. I mean, he made one the other day to tie the game and send it into overtime.
Yes. No, he did.
I didn't text you. I didn't say a word. I'm more concerned about what I'm seeing from him during the game. The average points, continues with the rebounds, continues with the assists, continues to be a leader is what I'm looking for. What I see from him on the court, picking his players up, knowing that if someone's down, get pumped up. Pritchard makes a big shot, get out on the court, get on him. Great job. Things like that. That best player and the leader on the team. That's all I care about. If them other shots come, they come.
And he has improved in all those areas, the rebounds, the assists. Then when he gets hot, There are times where he is running the show out there. I mean, you get like these 5-minute periods of time. It's like, oh my God, this guy is like the best player out there. I mean, he's all over the place, So, I concede that. I agree with you there. Right, we got to run. Thank you very much for those that are watching. The next time we come on, we'll get some other things we're going to talk about. One of them is, should they make some rule changes in the NBA? We're going to talk about that one. I think that would be a fun topic. Of course, we got the football and this other stuff we can chat about too. So again, thank you very much to Chris. Thank you very much to you. And we'll talk to you again here on Santos on Sports. Take care.